I think I'm live. Okay, guys. So if this is working and it's live, I would love to see some comments just to know that I'm in the right space and I'm on time. So welcome to your weekly Beachbody Action Hour. I am Meghan Eggleston, and I am going to be walking you through the next hour of your day, the steps that I take and I train my team to build their business. So let me see some comments. Oh, I see some eyeballs popping on here. Okay, good. It does give me a little cue as to the numbers popping on. So yay, I'm so glad you guys are here with me. All right, so I've been around for 6 years, and it's so funny that I've been around for 6 years and I still have like nerves being on a screen talking about how to do what I do, but it's been my life for 6 years, and I have, treated my business like a business since that time. I did sign up as a discount coach a year prior to me starting, so I've actually been a coach for 7 years. Started with Shakeology. Had no intention to do this. I don't want to talk too much about me, but I feel like some of this would be valuable for those of you who might relate to my story. It might give me a little more credibility with you as I share with you what I do and what I train people to do. But I had no intention to do this. Terrified of sales, terrified of getting it in inboxes, really concerned with how I'd be perceived. And I just had no interest initially. I have a fitness background, and I have a degree in kinesiology, undergraduate degree in kinesiology. I have certifications in personal training, group fitness instructor, all that good stuff. And I thought I was like, oh, I have a real degree. I have a real certification. Why would I do that? But really, I was just terrified of the idea of selling. And I kind of like stalked coaches and sat back and judged for 12 months, and sort of started to see the ways people were doing this in a way that like I could relate to, I could align with, that I could say, wow, this could really provide value in people's lives if I could just get over myself. So about a year into that, I decided I was going to run my first challenge group with T25. This was 6 years ago that I just went all in and didn't know I was going to build a big business, had no intention to. Even when I started, I thought, oh, I'm going to go back to work. I have 2 degrees and $36,000 in student loans. So I need to do that. And this will be a fun thing to have, something for me, while my kids are here, and I just kind of need something from mom. That was when I was holding a 1-year-old, nursing a 1-year-old at that time. And I totally expected to be, back to work by the time she hopped on a school bus for kindergarten. Well, she's now in 2nd grade, and I did not have to go back to work. This grew into way more than I ever thought possible. And for any of you who are like nervous about, what it takes in terms of talking to people, in terms of sales and retailing, I promise you that you can do this business in a very impactful way, in a very successful way, from the heart and from home on your own time. So we're going to take you through this puppy. All right. I feel like I want to have another window up to make sure that people are seeing this. I'm not seeing any comments. Maybe I should pull my phone up, or another window. I'll do that in a second while I have you guys working on something, so I don't want to disrupt this work hour at the moment. So, but I want to hear from you. If you have questions as I'm walking through this, I'm going to be talking to you, new coaches, as if you're a new coach. Those of you who are veteran coaches will still have a lot of value from this. But I want to make sure that if I'm saying something that maybe it doesn't make sense because I'm just so used to the Beachbody terminology that I'm like, oh gosh, please, please, please ask your questions. Obviously, I can't answer everything, but I do want to be able to provide clarity if something I'm saying doesn't make sense. Please, anything that you don't worry about sounding silly, we want you to feel like you have a handle on this. Good news is Beachbody is so awesome about providing us tools and resources. They're always coming out with new ways to support you. So, this is a tool that basically tells you exactly what to do. So grab it and use it if you're not already using it. Now, I've kind of transferred myself to another system because it captures more, but like whenever I feel like I'm a little bit not like focusing my business efforts the best way, I go back to this just to make sure I'm covering all my bases, and this shows me my holes. But if you have not committed to this for 3 solid months, like of using this system, you have no business saying, oh, this other thing works for me, unless it's true that it works for you in terms of you're hitting your goals. So I always tell my coaches, whenever you're struggling and you have doubts and fears and, you know, whatever, we all have it. I'm like, you know what? Your feelings are valid. I don't want to discount them. Like that's fair to have doubts and fears. Here's what I suggest. Use this for 3 months and then get back to me. We'll talk about, see if those actual concerns are real, because this is what works. But sometimes we need a little help working through it. Inspiration from other coaches definitely helps, and that's why you're here. So if you're here live, good for you. That means you're taking this seriously, so do it. Don't just sit here and watch me, join me. And if you're watching this later, good for you for having the discipline, because you're at work or whatever, to watch this later. We do this a lot, don't we? Oh, I'll catch that call, I'll catch that later, but then we don't. So good for you for following up and actually watching this at a time that works for you and following through. Okay, so top of this tracker says my why: restate your purpose of supporting your coaching business. Don't skip these things because you think it's cliche and you think it's, oh, okay, yeah, I know my why. Don't skip it because you think it's like, oh, I don't have time for that and that's just silly. I know my why. You want to see it. You want to have this in your face on a regular basis. You can poo-poo things after you've tried them long enough to tell me they don't work, okay? So don't, like, definitely state your why and your target market. You want to continue to have the clarity of who you're talking to. Does that mean you're not going to like help other people who aren't in that target market? Not at all. This just gives you such clarity that you know that when you're crafting messages, you're filtering it through a certain lens that gives you clarity and attracts who you want to attract. That does not mean you dismiss everybody else at all. This just helps you to provide clarity into how you want to show up and the kind of the way that you talk and the way that you share. So I hope that's there. And I have one more thing I'd like to add to this. And this is kind of my thing in terms of my leadership with my coaches. I think there's a lot of value when you're using this, a weekly tracker like this. You're giving yourself weekly goals, monthly goals, whatever those are, because this does give you some sort of like metrics of invite at least 5 people, 20 minutes. It gives you some, which I love the clarity around this. I love that it gives us structure, but not everyone's the same and their business is always going to be the same. You got to give and that's okay, but this is a really great guideline. You want to give yourself a target regardless if it aligns with this. Give yourself personal targets that stretch you. So if you're going to, you know, maybe you want to invite 20 people, maybe you want to invite 5 people, maybe you want to invite this week. It's up to you, as long as it aligns with your goals. But so give yourself those metrics, but here's my big thing, is that in addition to setting these goals, that you ask yourself specifically, why is that important? Who do I want to be, rather than what do I want to check off? Sounds silly, but I promise you, when you approach your business this way, you're aligning you're positioning your identity in this rather than like basing your value off of the outcome. I can win every day at that. Why is this important to me? Because I want to show up as somebody who takes herself seriously. I want to show up as somebody who takes her business seriously. I want to show up as somebody who stretches herself to talk to many people a day, because maybe it's a goal that you have, a rank goal, because a diamond coach would show up in this way. And I want to be the kind of person who is a leader. I just find a lot of value in forming your identity, or attaching your identity to your goals, not the outcome, but the kind of person you want to be would show up this way. Why does this make sense? Because you can win every day at that, whether the outcome shows that or not. And that outcome only gives you information as to how to set their goals the next time. Okay, maybe those metrics didn't line up with that outcome, and I know to reach my goal, it will require different outcomes. So how can I set it next week? So I'm not attaching my worth to my outcome. This is important for so many reasons in this business. Comparison, whatever. So who do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be in terms of discipline, responsibility, impact, influence, service? To take your goals and align it with that, and you can win every single day and not be attaching yourself to the immediate gratification, the validation from these activities every moment. Okay, it's 10 minutes and I haven't gotten you started. But I strongly believe when you operate your business through this lens and through this filter, you're way more effective and way more impactful, and you're going to stall way less, and you're going to procrastinate way less when you're operating through that filter and lens. And so I hope that I gave you time back to your business by giving you a different way to look at it and look at the activity that you're sitting down to do. And you're not like, oh, I got to do this to get to this goal. Like, I get to be the kind of person that I want to be today. I get to be the kind of person who takes people seriously enough, takes her goals seriously enough, takes her mission, her impact, her purpose seriously enough to show up in this way. That feels like a way better way to show up today. Okay, so the first thing on this is to be proof the product works. I hope that you've worked out and had your Shakeology. If you haven't had your workout yet, or you haven't had your shake, I haven't. That's after this. But you know, good for you if you have. Maybe go ahead and post in the comments what your workout was and your, you know, how you made your shake today. But that's not something we're going to do on the call. We're going to get really started with the second part of this, the second heading of this, and that is to connect, invite, follow up. This is what gets people the most kind of nervous, and you know, this is where people bring all our drama. All right, so it's a good thing we start off there. Let me tell you the way that I approached this in my business before I had a tool like this. So something about me is I didn't have a coach who told me what to do. My coach is a retail Shakeology out of her boutique gym. She's like a boutique fitness studio, and like a small, like, you know, fitness studio that is amazing. She's an awesome master trainer. Actually, she's incredible. But Shakeology is just something she wants to provide as a nutritional for her clientele. So she didn't know much about coaching at all, but she was like, go ahead, go get him, Megan. Here's the back office. And I'm like, hey, thanks. Thanks for offering, I'm glad she gave me that much. But so she couldn't like walk me through anything. There weren't like really, like, I didn't have a team that I came into. So I figured a lot of this out on my own. I made a lot of mistakes, went down a lot of rabbit holes. I had no interest in selling. I was terrified of that part. So the way that I did this without even knowing this is what I was doing was I wanted to have so many warm and ripe conversations that helping 3 people a month was no problem, because I had gotten so many people to a point in a conversation that an invite was totally reasonable, totally welcome, and made total sense. So that took out the need for a tracker to tell me what to do. I know what it looks like to maybe ripen up 20 to 30 people over a month. So that's how I thought about showing up every month. It's like being really like intentional every single day of connecting with, talking to a lot of people, engaging with on social media, you know, reconnecting. Like, I just knew that I didn't, because I didn't want to sell. I didn't feel salesy, that I wanted to have so many people that I was in a point where it was a reasonable thing to offer them to join me. And that worked really well for me. Funny thing is, many people say, oh, I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell. I'm like, good. I don't want you to either. So glad that you're on my team, because I don't want, you know, weird, you know, cold messengers. Funny thing is, oftentimes when we say that, people don't actually do all the work that gets them to not feel like a salesperson. I said, that doesn't make sense to me. So if you truly don't want to sell because you want to serve people and you love people so much, then this should be like your jam, because because it's so important to you to actually serve people. So this keeps you from being that person at the end of the month who's like, I gotta get my sales, I gotta hit my targets, I've got to treat people as points and dollar symbols. So what happens is we either do that or we just don't show up and another month passes. So this is your jam because you don't want to sell, because you want to take care of people, because you love people, because you care about people. This is why you show up this way. Okay, so how are we going to start this? If you're a brand new coach, I would just say, if you're figuring out where to go on social media, you know, Instagram's where it's at right now. That might change if you hear this 2 years from now. I don't know. I started on Facebook. But if you are pretty connected on Facebook, I wouldn't say don't, like I'm still connected, so I'm there. But if you haven't already reconnected with a lot of people from your previous jobs, previous previous employment, previous schools, college, anything from your past, reconnect. Please be adding those people. It is totally normal to be reconnecting with people. reconnect, don't spam. So if that's where you're at, you're brand new and you have that still on the table for you, that is a good place to start. Here's for Instagram, this is where I'm sending my coaches who don't already have a warm market. If you have a warm market, so much of your energy, because you're newer, will be invested in the people that are already in your warm market. So if you're one of those people and you're like, you still haven't worked through your warm market, don't jump from that to like, oh, I'm just gonna go find them on social media. No, you won't. If you won't talk to people you already care about, then you won't talk to, you're not gonna do it with the new people. You just being real. That's the reality. Oh, I don't want to bother people. Well, if it's gonna bother them to share with them something you care about, then that's a problem. But I do want to share with you how I am building my new connections, where I'm finding the people that most align with me and who I want to help. So we're going to spend how much time? At least 10 minutes doing this. This is initiating connections and adding followers. My favorite places are to locally find accounts, find like businesses that align with me, and the kind of places I would frequent. So one of my favorites is like the juice shop, because these are people who are local and they're into healthy stuff. My church or churches like mine, so we share a faith. And so if people see me, if I'm adding them, talking to them, and like, oh, she's from Richmond and she's a believer, we might be alike. So I love that, because I think the local connection really does like make a difference for people. So I love if your kids in gymnastics or karate or something, does that studio, does that dojo have an Instagram page? Oh, she's in Richmond and her kid must go to whatever. I love this. I feel like people do feel more connected to that local connection. The other way I would do this is if you have accounts that you follow, influencers that you follow, that you align with, I'm going to the followers of those accounts, not other Beachbody coaches. So for example, like authors, and I would say the more obscure, the better. Don't go to Rachel Hollis's, that's too broad of an audience. But say there's like a more niche account that is an influencer or an informational kind of account in something that's specific to you. So perhaps it's like an influencer who talks about, I don't know, a certain autoimmune condition you have, and they're a great, I don't know, provider of resources. I'm going to like go to their followers because they're going to see me. Maybe my bio says I have Hashimoto's or whatever it is, and I'm living healthy. We're going to connect. So think about accounts like that are going to be niche. I have a coach who has struggled with mental health diagnoses and of borderline personality disorder, and struggles with, has in the past with anxiety and depression. And she's also a believer, and she follows this account who's like a single woman who's a comedian and talks about those same things. So wouldn't her followers be very similar to her? So I want you to think about those type of accounts to go target their followers. If you need help with this, you have questions, go ahead and type those into the comments, and I'll try to help while it's silent and you guys are working. The last one I would say is if you have friends, like your ideal customer that you already have, a customer that you already help, already connected to you, friends that are already connected to you, going to their friends' accounts, because they'll see that connection in the profile it shares if you're mutual friends with somebody. That lends more credibility to you if you guys follow the same person, you're friends with the same person, and you might be more aligned because you're friends with the same type of people. Does that make sense? So they're going to feel there's a credibility there. You don't seem super random to them. 5-3-1 rule is something that a lot of people say to go about adding new connections this way, and that just means you're going to like 5 of their posts, comment under 3 of their photos, and then add them as a follower. So ask questions. I want to hush so you guys can actually work, and I'm going to try to pull up a second window so I can actually see comments because they're not showing up for me right here. Okay, so I'm going to hush, mute this, or I guess I can't mute it here, and let you guys get to work. Ready? Go. take about 2 or 3 more minutes right here. Don't overthink it. Just go for it. Be social. Okay, guys, if that was hard for you for any reason, if you feel like you only got through a couple of people in 10 minutes, you might be overthinking it a little bit. If this is a struggle, chime in below. I won't answer you now, but maybe after the call. I'd love to kind of direct you a little bit more. But I know a lot of people, they're so focused on adding new connections, and they spend more of their time trying to just grow their account, grow their following, grow their influence, and they're actually not investing enough in warming up the relationships they have. So, if you're a new coach, I would say this is a very balanced approach. But I know many of you have been around for a while who just can get so focused on numbers and just growing and getting more that you're not really engaging enough with what you have. So I think there become seasons in your business where you want to spend way more time on the building the relationships that you already have, and like we'll talk about that a little bit later, what that looks like. But acquisition of new people should never be at the expense of taking care of the people that you already have. That goes for your customers too, and your Shakeology or HD customers. Okay, so we're going to move on to social media posts. I may not have the time on this call to create a brand new post that you're going to post right now. So maybe you've already posted today. If so, good for you. That's awesome. But if not, I want you to, in these next few minutes, we're going to take like 5 minutes to craft your next one. So if you've already posted today, awesome. Let's plan your next one. The more intentional we are, the better. Do you need to schedule all your content? Be awesome. But most of us, that's not the real world that we live in. That's going to actually happen for you. So you can plan that now, or you're going to plan your post for today after this call for those of you who haven't posted. So here's what I'll ask you to do is to take a quick moment in these 5 minutes here to do an audit of your previous posts. So take a look, scroll back through the last week or two of what you've posted and see where there might be holes. Would anybody know that you are on a journey? Is that all you share with them? So if you haven't talked about fitness or what you're doing, then that's a good sign that your next post needs to let them know that. And for a lot of us, this is where I get the most challenges. People don't know that I have a business they can join because I'm not talking about it enough. I hear this all the time. I can't attract business builders. I don't get business builders. How do I get business builders? I said, well, I don't know that you look like a business builder online. So I don't know that you will attract that, or the people that you already have on your team will take you seriously unless you show up that way. So have you talked about the fact that you have a coaching business, why it's blessing you? Do people know that they could also be a part of it too? Are you just kind of alluding to it thinking, oh, they're gonna come in my inbox? No, they're not, nope. That post and pray method is, that went out, the year I think I started. It used to be a little bit more efficient. These call to actions used to be a little more effective, but that's just not the way of the world. And that's not the shift of social media. So post and pray is not a thing anymore for you, but you still want to be creating a platform, a storefront that says, here's what I have to offer. Here's what I'm about. So if you're doing an audit and that's not something that's been represented on your social media, you're going to want to make your next post talk about that. A call to action is a great idea too if you haven't done one in a while. Now, if your feed is all fitness, then that should tell you, okay, what more am I about that I want to share with people? Other ideas, if you're like really uninspired at the moment, is always like recipe ideas, workout tips. Maybe you're really good at time management. Maybe you have some skills that you can share, that you can provide some value. Remember, this is all about value. It's not about, hey, look what I did today. You want the question to like ask yourself when you want to post something is, okay, what's the so what behind this? It's like, okay, you worked out, so what? Yay. Day 29 done. Yay. Okay, so what? So find the so what behind what you're sharing, so that the audience, the person who's consuming this, gets some value from behind it. Other ideas. So, okay, we're gonna take 5 minutes to start to audit our feeds and to maybe even start to craft our next post, but to definitely get an outline for what we're gonna talk about. And as you just decide what that's gonna be for you, I would love for you to share in the comments what your next post needs to be about based on your audit of your social media, and then you're gonna post it tomorrow. You're gonna post it whenever you're gonna post it. And then I would love to challenge you to post that link back in this comment thread. I will go to your post. I will comment on it. I will engage with it. So I would love all of you to share your post, that next post, in the comments of this video post. All right, here we go. I'm shutting up and letting you work. But again, I want to hear the brief outline of the content of your next post in the comments. Okay, we're going to move on. But I only saw a couple of you sharing what you're going to talk about. So I hope everyone here is, there I am, okay, that it is not just watching, but they're actually following the action hour. So I want to hear in the comments what you're going to post about. And I look forward to checking it out when you share your link back. But like somebody did say they're gonna share a recipe tonight. So let me give you my quick tip with this kind of thing, because this will be valuable or applicable to other posts. I said, okay, my tip is to not just share the recipe, to share a beautiful image of the meal that you prepared, and to ask people if they like the recipe. Why? Because that way you have an easy way to get into people's inboxes. Because someone like drop a whatever emoji if you would like the recipe. So this is an easy way to get into inboxes. Plus, it's triggering comments on that post, which helps boost it in the algorithms. So whatever you're posting about, I want you to think about ways that you can invite conversation into the comments. Maybe it's asking a certain question. It's some kind of maybe call to action on to like the post for whatever reason. So think about how when you post, you can invite conversation that, number one, helps you to engage with your audience and for them to feel, to feel valued and a part of the conversation, rather than just say, hey, I'm just posting over here to get attention from you. But it's inviting them into the conversation, and it's helping you in the algorithms of social media. The more comments and likes and whatever activity on a post is, the more that it will boost it in the feeds and in people's eyeballs. So always be thinking of ways you can engage your audience in that way with your posts. So, okay, we're moving on to stories. That's right. Yes, update Instagram/Facebook story throughout the day. And it gives examples of things that you can talk about. Daily life, workout clips, product use, with no brand name shown, healthy meal or meal prep, invitation, promote group, call to action, recognition, shout out. So here's my tips here. I think a lot of people overthink this too. Number one, don't worry about being boring. Like, I don't have anything to talk about. Like, they just gave you examples of what you can do. Boring is not bad on stories, because everybody is as boring as you are, and there's some kind of weird validation when they see how mundane and boring everyone's life is. They don't feel like, because everybody's sitting on social media comparing themselves and feeling not enough, right? So when they see you being just as boring and mundane as they are, it's really comforting to do that. So they want to see your workouts. They want to put don't indulge with like a bazillion, like a 2-minute long workout video that people don't want to like tap through. But if you're working out, drinking Shakeology, doing your Energize, your meals, whatever, that repetition, that consistency is very comforting to people. That's what I get the most commentary on when people come to me for a challenge group or as a coach, is like they followed me for long enough and felt like I was reliable. They could depend on me because of what I was sharing. So don't overthink it. And my other thing is, I think people think you have to post in real time. I am so big on, don't let social media like consume you. Don't like life cast necessarily. I take a lot of photos and videos throughout the day that I don't post right away, because I want to be more thoughtful when I post it. So if I'm like out and about, or I just don't have time to actually be thoughtful in my story, I'm just capturing. I'm just like, I capture so much that I don't even post a lot of what I capture. I just think, I might be able to think creatively about how to share this and use a poll. Or use one of the features on Instagram that will make it more engaging. But I can't right now because I need to, have a call. So that's just, don't think that you have to post in real time everything, especially if you're somebody who works and it's like, I can't live cast. But if you can capture photos that you can later share, that's valuable. There is value to like into the algorithms of posting throughout the day, because it pops you up in news feeds. But you don't want to like let your life be so consumed by social media, but you do have a lot to share through stories. One of the things you can do, if you're not talking about your business, guys, I know this is really hard for me. Really, this is not my strong suit, but I have to be really conscious of talking about the business. It's so easy for me to talk about fitness and my life, but I have to be like conscious of, oh my gosh, I'm on a call right now. I need to capture a photo of myself talking so that I can talk about how I was just on a call. Okay, let me grab that. Oh, I'm on a team call. You know, so much of our life is just so routine that we forget to even like to do that. But if I want people to like know that I'm a coach and that they can join me too, I've got to think about how I'm sharing. You know, you're like, well, I'm a newer coach. I don't have my own virtual gym or my own group. I'm in my coaches. They're really doing, I don't have a whole lot of challengers yet. You can still very much share the testimonials and the conversations that are happening within your team page, within your, within the challenge group you're in. It doesn't have to be your customer, but you can share that value of being in a community, an accountability community. Those people who are posting comments and things that are just like really inspirational within, like, share that world to the people that are following your stories. Whatever you're doing as a coach, when you're on a team call, even you're on something like this, what does it all look like? What do the vital behaviors look like of engaging in your challenge group, recognizing people? That is all part of sharing the business. So, you know, maybe you want to capture, just right now, we're not going to take time on this, maybe you just want to capture a still image or a video or whatever, being on a training call, growing your mind, showing people. You don't ever want, you want people to know that it takes work. So don't, to build this business, you don't want to like create some kind of illusion that it's just all fun and games and you just work out and hang out with each other. It takes, like, I want people who come to me to know before I have to spend an hour on a call with GSR that they're going to work, that we're going to be, you know, it's not just fun and games. It's not just, it's fun to help people, but it's not just, oh, the community, that's why I do it, because the community. Share with them what it looks like to show up as a boss too. So capture, maybe you want to capture a, you know, an image now, but we're going to move on. Oh, I will say this about stories. Use the features, polls, questions, the little slider thing, everything you can. Instagram loves it when you do. They give you more cred, you know, they will reward you with more followers or eyeballs. I mean, if you're using their features, because they put them there, they want you to use them, and you are creating engagement that you otherwise wouldn't. So many of the people that I talk to, it's so much easier to invite them or talk to them because they've just answered a poll, a silly poll. Anything, it does not matter how dumb it is, crunchy or creamy. I don't know. I have a little document I'll pop into the comments of poll ideas, but it's so great to already have made that connection with so many people before I go in and I talk to them about something. Oh, it's not letting me post it in there. I don't know if it's because, yeah, it's not letting me. Maybe I'll do it later. But I use these for the reason, one of the reasons is to connect with people in a very casual way before you talk to them more formally. Okay. We're gonna move on to, oh gosh, it's getting late. Responding to all new likes, comments, and views. So I'm not one of those people who responds to all my likes. A lot of my team does, a lot of people do it super successfully. But I definitely, in all the comments that I have, I wanna make sure that there's valuable comments back. So definitely we're gonna do that right now. And anybody who's viewing my stories, I do like to talk to them. I like to thank them. I think I saw a training somewhere where someone is like, oh, that's not what you would do in real life, so don't do that. Go engage with them personally. If you have opportunity to engage with people on something more specific, obviously that's ideal. But I do very much I'm very appreciative for the people who look at my stories. I appreciate their support. So it's authentic to me to thank them. And I get so much great feedback from thanking people for support with my stories. So it sounds like this. Hey, Jacqueline, I wanted to thank you for following my stories and my journey. Oh, where is it? I wanted to send some love your way. I appreciate it so much when others show their support and good vibes. People love it. Some people just tap a little heart, some people ignore it, and so many people say, oh my gosh, of course, you're so inspiring, or oh, I just love how silly you are. They appreciate it. They feel acknowledged. They feel known. Don't be afraid to do this, because they're generally following so many people. Just that little touch point makes you stand out as somebody they're more connected to. So that's what we're going to do for the next, say, 3 minutes, because it's getting late. I want you to go engage with people who are following your stories. Anybody that's commented under a post, I want you to create more conversation. with comments. Any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be silent for a couple minutes while we do this. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so now we're at the point where we invite. Okay, if you don't do this, you won't have a business. So don't be one of those people who's like, I checked off so much, I'm so proud, but like you missed this one. Challenge yourself on a weekly basis to whatever that number is. Give yourself a target and let it be a non-negotiable. So this is the easiest thing I think for people to miss. They can do all the social media stuff, all the engagement, all the love, but not the actual love of being bold enough to bring people into what we have to offer. So we're going to take I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes to send out some invitations. What does this invitation look like for me? If you're a newer coach and you have people in your warm market that you still haven't reached out to, this is the time for you to do that. I like to go about it as the opinion approach or the feedback approach with those people who are closest to me. That idea of like, hey, I'm doing this new thing. I'd love for you to check it out and tell me what you think. I am excited about this for XYZ reasons, and I would love to create my own community, a fitness community, and I have a group starting. Can you check it out for me? That was a really effective way for me to get started, and that's how I train my new coaches, is to start to just get people in your current world introduced to this and tell them that you want their feedback, that you want their opinion, you want some testimonials. The people who are in your life that are closest to you are generally want to help you. Some of them won't. That's okay too. That's a different story. They will come around when you show up consistently for a while. They might not now. But so many people, you'll be surprised, that would love to check this out for you. So that's how I would approach for those of you who still have so much of your initial warm market. But those of you who aren't there, I am definitely inviting people from follow my stories. Obviously, anybody that you already have kind of warm, you've had conversations with, let's go there. But the coldest I get in my messaging is people who are viewing my stories. I don't do brand new cold. I feel like if you've been watching me, then we've developed some kind of there's some rapport there, and I do get a lot of people started this way, and that looks like this. Hey Chris. I wanted to thank you for following my stories and my journey. I don't know if it's something you'd be interested in, but I happen to have a couple more $10 off promo codes to join the program I've been doing. Would you be open to learning more about it? I don't give them a whole bunch. Disclaimer, I love my disclaimer. Hey, I don't know if this is for you, or this may not be up your alley, or hey, like, I don't know if you'd be down for this, but I thought of you because would you be open to looking at it? Totally disarms them. You're not like, they don't feel like you're coming at them with like, hey, check out my opportunity. They feel like totally chill, totally casual. Would you be open to it? And generally they're going to say yes. And I always encourage you to use a third-party tool as much as possible to share details, videos, graphics, whatever. Why? Because you want to be duplicatable. You don't want to be an expert. You want to be somebody where they feel like if they were to be doing what you're doing, that it would be that easy. So your goal is to not be an expert, to not know all the programs, to not talk all slick and like sound amazing. Use those third-party tools. They exist, or you can create them. So let's go. Take a few minutes. We're gonna just send out some invites. Let's go for it. And then I want you to share how many you invited in the comments. So don't go hiding right now. Okay, so we'll move on because it's about 2 o'clock, but I'm not done. But somebody asked, what do you tell them when they say yes. So this is a good question, and it's going to depend on what it is you're sharing with them. In this example of, the program that I'm doing, which happens to be Morning Meltdown 100, I'll say, awesome, here's a little more info on the program. And I will do my best. This is hard to do because I am so seasoned now and I know fitness well, but I try really hard to make it duplicatable. I want my people to see, hey, like, you can do this. And so I'll share with them, in the Beachbody On Demand blog, there's a whole blog on Morning Meltdown 100. You can share that. I love the tool. The back office has information on every single program, guys. Please use the back office. Corporate puts a lot of time and energy to the resources, and I know that I don't tap into them enough. So everything you have questions about, every program has some kind of video, has some kind of resource. So use them. I know just what's handy is BB Link's app. It's a third-party app, like some other, I think coach's husband made this up, which was genius. But it's made to generate links for you to send to people, but now that we have ShareCart, it's not as valuable in that way, but it does have so many videos that I can search really easily from my phone. So there's a lot of little videos for Morning Meltdown 100 that I can say, here's a little info on the program. And then I might share how I feel about the program, and then what kind of support they get from me, what the community is like. So it could sound something like this. Here's a little info on the program, insert video, tool, whatever. And I happen to have a really great video that my coach Lauren Friedman put together, who was in the test group. And here's a really powerful video put together by Lauren on my team, who got to be a part of the test group. So I'll share that video. And then I say there's something special about being a part of a program launch with a bunch of people, but really the game-changing component is the community piece. I have an amazing support environment that I've created, plus loads of bonus resources, meal plans, and meal plans provided to ensure results and success. Tell me what you think. Or my other favorite question to leave this with is, does this sound like something that would benefit you? Does this sound like a fit for you? I never say, let me know, because that leaves the ball in their court and it's awkward. So give them a question that they can't say no to. Does this sound like something that would benefit you? Most people cannot say no to that question. So I hope that was helpful. But obviously it's going to depend on what you're specifically inviting them to. Okay. So we can move through with this, not take up too much of you guys' time. Follow up with people you've invited. I am sad that I've let this get to this point, and I have to brush over this, because I feel like this is actually a way more important skill for you guys than a lot of these things on this. This is where so many people crap the bed. Especially right now in this current social media climate. It is not the same business that it was when I was a newer coach. There's just too many things clamoring for our attention. There's too many notifications. There's too many things to be paying attention to. So people absolutely need follow-up. They need prompt. They need you to take them seriously. And I liken it to this, put yourself in their shoes. There's something in your life that is hard for you that you need somebody to take you seriously enough to keep following up with you. Okay, I am notorious for signing up for training videos or training programs, like a social media training, a business training, whatever. I invest money, and there's a platform where I have to go and do it. And there's some perceived accountability to it, but I don't always follow through. And then I feel like crap that I put all this money into something that I'm not using, and I feel bad about myself. I'm frustrated, what's wrong with me? Why am I not more disciplined? I thought I was a business owner. Yeah, crap stuff that we put, that your clients, that your prospects, that's what's going through their head when it comes to their goals. What's wrong with me? I never get fit. I start all these things, and I spend money on this, on the gym, and I just never follow through. So homegirl on Instagram is sharing something with me, and I'm like, that sounds cool. Tell me more. And she sends me more. I'm like, huh. But then the narrative goes in my head again. And then my kid is hungry. Oh, they got to eat again? Yeah, yep. Oh, okay, there's a crisis over here. Oh, my work needs me. Oh, this. They're gone, because they're down that rabbit hole, and that's not urgent to them, because there's too many other things that are urgent to them. So they need you to prompt them. And they need you to know that you're taking them seriously, that you're going to be there for them. Because that's what happens for me in these training things. That same training might come up in my email, and they give me a little more information that says, hey, like, I'm going to be doing this to help you. Like, oh. And as I see that I'm going to get more support and they're taking me more seriously as a client, I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this. Okay, they're taking me seriously. Like, this is different. These other things I can follow through, but only when they kind of pursue me. So you're going to need to pursue people. They are not going to say yes right away. Some magical unicorns will. Good for you. But the 80% of my enrollments are from multiple follow-ups. So this is something we won't take the time on the call to do because I'm already overspent my time and I don't want to like hold you here, but I just want to kind of get this message out to you because I feel like this is a skill that too many people just underestimate, and they kind of get caught up in the like, well, they're not interested. I just got to move on. I believe you're wrong unless you've gotten a firm no from them. I am so big on requesting a firm no. What does that look like? If they're just like, they've seen my message, I will say, hey, no worries if like you got busy. I don't know if, you know, you found, maybe if you found something that's working for you, awesome. Otherwise, but if you're just, you know, just haven't had a chance to respond, you know, I'd love to hear back from you. Otherwise, I'll move on. I want them to know, like, I'm moving on if you're gonna like ghost me. I want you to know that I take myself seriously and I take my business seriously and I take you seriously. And if I leave it hanging, I've kind of created this like, you're not important enough for me to follow up with. I'm gonna go see the next person who might actually say yes. And then you kind of leave this conversation kind of weird and awkward. To ever talk to them again feels weird. So it creates boundaries in terms of your relationship with anybody that like, hey, I take myself seriously. Here's how I expect you to respond if we're gonna have a conversation. It's okay if you're not interested. I'm a big girl. You can tell me no, it's okay. I'll still be, you know, I'm still here for you. So I think there's so much like fear in follow-up that people are actually doing the opposite of what they claim to want to do. The follow-up actually is what confirms your concern for them, your purpose, your being a person of integrity, you're being somebody who's not just, they're just not just a number. There's somebody that you're willing to be there for them, to be the person that helps them actually move to their goals. Like when I think about, I'm so excited for the training opportunity where that person hosting it provides enough accountability for me to follow through. And that's what I want to be that person for somebody. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, it was Meghan helped me to see what I'm made of. I am capable. I can do this. And I'm so glad that she didn't give up on me, that she, you know, she prompted me. I needed that to feel like I could do this. So follow-up is everything. It's something you've got to take seriously. Tracking is where that's gonna, figuring out tracking is gonna be essential to that. Not my strong, organization, not my strong suit, but it's a necessity to develop a certain level of competency in being organized. And you will, if you're like me, you'll figure it out if you care enough, you will. Contribute to your challenge group. That's not something we'll do on this call, but if you're in a challenge group that's not your own, like maybe your coach hosts it and they're letting you, you know, be a part of it, please be an ideal challenger. You can't expect anybody to come in your group and be a good challenger if you're not, you know, being that example. Recognize achievement. You know, what does this look like? It can look like within your groups. It can look like publicly on social media, in stories. It does not have to be just about Beachbody stuff. People want to be celebrated. So when you mark that off every single day in some way, look for opportunity to acknowledge what somebody's doing, to better themselves, to improve themselves. Respond to questions from customers and coaches, and personal development. Okay, love to hear what PD you've done today or you're going to do today. Drop that in the comments. Sorry to rush to the end. If you have any questions about anything I've shared, please drop it in the comments. I may not be able to get to it today, but I do want to hear if there's, you know, from you, if there's something that I've shared that wasn't clear and I might be of value to you. Okay, any last questions? Let me check the comments. How do you make a conversation go from trying to connect personally to linking it towards a combo of joining me? I mean, when you're asking people questions about themselves, like people love to talk about themselves, you're generally going to be invited to talk about what you're doing and like what's going on in your life. So it won't be so crazy to introduce, inviting them to a challenge group if you've already mentioned what you're into, what you're doing. So it's really about asking enough questions, being engaging enough with somebody, so like learning about them, that it's going to be natural that you're sharing about yourself. So I don't think it's as crazy to go, to go from to like an invitation, because you're going to be talking, like being social anyway and talking about yourself. But if someone's been following my stories, or if I know that they know what I'm doing and we're in conversation, it's not bizarre. It's not, where did that come from? If I care about anybody and I believe in this, if I'm not talking to them about it, it does look actually weirder. It's weirder if I'm okay going to like social media and inviting, but I'm not going to invite people that I'm actually friends with. So I've gotten myself to a friendship with somebody just by asking them enough about themselves that we're sharing. So that's where I would say just warm up the conversation, that relationship in that way, because then they're a friend or someone that you're invested in personally. So an invitation's not so weird because they know what you do. And if you disarm it with the, I don't know if you'd be into this, but would you be open to checking it out? That's so casual, so like nonchalant. They're not going to feel pressure. They're not going to be like, oh, spammy. They have an out, and we want them. We're not trying to convince anybody. We're not trying to sell anybody. So that makes them feel more comfortable to say no. But you might be surprised that, you know what, actually, yeah. If you are still under your upline's FB group and there's no new group to invite, how many people? Okay. How do you do the invite to my group type of thing, Jessica? Well, if you're upline, you create your own group. If you don't have a group because they've not created one, then it's up to you. It's your business. You can't rely on what your coach is putting out there to do this. It'd be nice. I try to do it for my team, but here's I'm overextending my welcome here, but I'm gonna go ahead and share my feelings on this. Because I didn't have a coach that to show me the way. I didn't have a big rock star leader that was like, doing recognition leaderboards, doing trainings for my team, for a team. I didn't have any of that. What I wished I had once I decided to do this, I was like, wow, I'm so stupid. I should have signed up under somebody who could like show me the way. Like I totally missed an opportunity. Honestly, I think it's the very fact that I didn't have it is why I excelled. I couldn't wait till I was ready. I couldn't wait till there was something for me. I had to go out and create it. It made me ready before I was ready. And so sometimes I feel like I can cripple my team by being super helpful, by having resources. They can wait to they don't have to do a team call. They don't have to like grow in leadership to go start their own. So I try to kick my coaches out of my, those nests when appropriate. I mean, I love to be able to provide those resources, especially for my new coaches who are like working full time and they're really busy, and like for them to create their own community environment right away is a little bit like, that'd be really hard. So I love to be able to provide that, but I also feel like there's that balance of where we can be crippling people by then expecting that like there's something next for them from their, the upline, from the team leadership. So I kind of feel like it's because I had to go figure it out myself and I didn't have it that I was able to, like, I became a leader I never knew I was. I was super shy, super awkward, super self-conscious, super timid. You wouldn't recognize me. But it was because I had no choice. So I say if it's not there, it's not, go create it. Say yes and figure it out later. Go invite them now, and you better make a group real quick. Maybe you want to partner with another coach so that you guys have more than one, whatever, a few people that are working together. But don't let that stop you from inviting. Go invite, and you'll create the environment. Say yes, figure it out later. New comments. How do you allow people in your groups if it's ongoing? So that's what I have, is an ongoing group, an ongoing virtual gym. I transitioned to that January 1 of this year. It's been such a relief, such a blessing. I mean, I don't never position it like you have to be there at the start of a group. I have themes in my virtual gym, but I don't consider them now groups because I don't want people to feel like they've missed out if they join the middle of it. So I kind of, just the way I talk about it is how you can invite to it. I don't say like, oh, you missed the group, start on, September 1. You can join anytime, because it's just, oh, the current theme for September is this, and so it keeps it easy for me to always invite to it. Okay, I think I should probably sign off. I don't know if I'm overextending my welcome, but again, I will check back in the comments and respond to anything that I may have missed. A reminder, I would love for you guys to share your social media posts that you started to craft today into the comments so that we all can go love on it. Okay, all right, have an awesome week, guys. Thank you so much for having me. It's really a privilege to be here and to be able to share any value. I'm so fortunate to have been able to learn from coaches before me, from videos and stuff, like, because I didn't have a team training, that kind of thing. Like, I relied so heavily on YouTube videos that I could find, on national wake-up calls, on those who've gone before me and done it well. So to be able to have the privilege to give back, it's a blessing. So thanks for being here. I hope you guys got a lot done, and just be blessed. Bye, y'all.